All right, so we have a question about part D of the first question. So you mentioned that you answered yes to this, and there's something that's kind of really important about statistics. And so I understand at first glance why you would think that the treatment group was way more effective than the control group. But in reality, we can't actually make this decision because the general idea is that we have a sample. We're looking at a sample, the data that's in this chart. And what this claim, where it says yes, is making a claim about all, like everyone in the population. And that's a huge jump from looking at a small sample and saying, well, all the population fits this trend. And we can't really do this. And it specifically says this in the textbook. And I'm going to pull that up really quick. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm looking at page 9. I'll go ahead and pull this down. Let's zoom out a bit. So on page 9, it says, well, it says it throughout here, but particularly this be careful area. On page 9, it says, do not generalize the results of this study, they're talking about some study, but of any study, to all patients and all stints. And this study looks at patients with very specific characteristics who volunteer to be a part of the study and who may not be representative of all stroke patients. So I can't remember if this is the exact same example, but it's the general idea of that you only can make statements, definite statements about the individuals in your sample. You can say the individuals of this sample, the treatment group, is better than the control group for this sample from this specific data. But you can't generalize it about all people that are under this sort of control or treatment. So that's one of the major things in statistics that we'll be getting into, and it's called inferential statistics, where we actually look at a sample and we discuss what the population may look like and estimate population values. That's what the later part of this course and all of the second term statistics is all about. If you take the summer statistics course, it's about looking at samples and being able to predict what the population looks like and estimate values of a population based off of a sample. So that's what this is trying to do on part D. And if you answer yes, you're kind of getting caught in a trap because you really can't make any statements until you really analyze the data further rather than just comparing, the percentages from part A and part B. You can't just compare A and B and just say, hey, yeah, treatment's better than the control. There's further analysis that would need to be done to be able to make that sort of claim based off of, to extend it to a population. So I hope this helps. That's one example where it's tough. I mean, stats can be pretty difficult. Little details like this can be pretty difficult. But getting used to the vocabulary and the nature of statistics, you'll kind of pick up on this. But that's just one example. And the other option, I'll pull that up right now. It is impossible to tell merely by comparing the sample proportions because the difference could be a result of random error, and that's what it comes down to. It could be due to random error. I mean, the idea that the sample doesn't really well predict the population because your sample may not be a true representation of your population. And your samples can vary from one sample to another. So, and it could just as easily that the control and the treatment could be the same if we take another sample. And it could really vary from one sample to the next. So just taking one sample and looking and analyzing one sample is not enough to be able to have a definitive answer of what the population looks like, which is what the question's asking about. All right, so let me know if you have any other concerns about this, and I'll be more than happy to help.